Hello and welcome to Burnham Bereavement Cafe online. Now, living in Burnham-on-Sea, along the seafront, the tide is never the same from one day to the next. We have the second highest rising tide in the whole world, which means that sometimes you look out over the sea and you can't even see the sea. Anyone local knows this. Other times, the tide comes in and it's so fierce and so high that it's crashing over the wall. And in fact, at one stage in the 1980s, the seawall was completely destroyed by the fierce storms that raged and the waves that came over and smashed the seafront to pieces, meaning that a new wall had to be built, new sea defences. Then there are the times when the tide might be quite choppy and the waves quite choppy, but perhaps not hitting the wall and perhaps just about copable with and able to walk alongside. And then there are still other times when the sea comes in, but it's calm, like a millpool. There's this huge variety and it's never the same one day to the next. Now, I think that walking through bereavement is like that, especially when you think of it in terms of these waves that come over us, those waves of grief, because you never know from one day to the next or from morning till afternoon how you feel. You don't know whether that tide is going to be coming in and just crashing against you so much that you feel that you can't get your breath at times. And you're just dissolving and like that old seafront, feel like you're falling to pieces with the immensity of the waves of grief. And then there are the other times when the waves are still there, but you're just about coping. You're just about managing. And there are still other times when the sea is calm. The grief is there, but it's calm, you're walking alongside, you're sort of living alongside that grief. And maybe those are the times as well when some of the more pleasant memories can come back and not overwhelm us. But we don't know, do we? We walk along and we don't know when one of those waves is going to hit us. But what I have learnt from the tide is that it does always subside. Sooner or later it will subside. You are able to take a breath again. And sometimes you might need somebody to help you out of the water and back onto some solid ground to feel that you're in a safe space. And I hope that Burnham Bereavement Cafe and Burnham Bereavement Cafe online can be that safe space for each of us, the place where we can reach out to one another, perhaps even offer a life belt to hold somebody when they're going through those times. And it's a mutual support group. Each of us here have known what it is to be bereaved and to travel along in grief. And we've each known what it is for those waves to tower over us. But we also know that they do subside and we breathe again. Sometimes just ready for the next one, actually. And we can encourage one another in that. So the other thing is that I came across and posted it on the Bereavement Cafe site, a little meme saying that you really can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. And I think that's quite an interesting idea and wonder how each of us may have learnt or be learning how to surf and pass those on to us. So thank you for listening and thank you for all that you contribute to Burnham Bereavement Cafe online. We are able together to support one another through these waves.